Bam. Just like that. No intro, no music, no nothing. Why is that? Because I'm late. That's why. Thank you all for waiting patiently in chat. I hate being late. Had all kinds of stuff to do this morning. And I just smashed down a bunch of chicken. No Metallica today. I'm sorry. We got the copyright strike for that yesterday. I can't do it on every single video. All right. How is everybody doing today? We are going to bring in these special guests today very soon. So sit tight. We are orchestrating that in this moment. I thank you all for being here today. Short notice. I put this stream up, notification of the stream up last night. And I've been kind of teasing it for a few days. And as you all know, we're getting into this vegan to carnivore, carnivore to vegan science experiment. I just want to say that this experiment that we have going on, although not scientific in the laboratory setting, is drawing the attention of some big people. Big people. Already, people have tuned in is Dave Feldman. Big channel talking about scientific blood research. I recommend checking out his channel on like very in-depth, nerd-tastic information on the blood work. And we also have our boy Goji Man wrote to me last night. He gave his 2 cents on the experiment as well. Yes, Goji Man. Amongst many other people who either want to be involved directly or indirectly. So, yes, Dulce says this is exciting. I agree. Very exciting. JEM, you watched last night's stream. You only fell asleep for the last 15 minutes. That's good, man. That was a long stream last night. I really enjoyed the part with Klaus. That was fantastic. I feel like him popping in was a really good addition to that particular stream. I enjoyed hearing him and Bart go back and forth. And I also enjoyed talking to him myself. And that was my first time ever dealing with Klaus on microphone or on camera. So we've only discussed things through chat, but, you know, it's always different when you're face-to-face with somebody. I know it's through the internet, but it's a little bit more, how do you want to call it? Civil. Even though Klaus was popping off last night. He was a little bit distraught, I have to say. Klaus, if you're in here, I'm just saying, you know? Hey, Sarah, my life in the sunshine. Okay, I have to remember that. Yes, I'm late, and I'm so sorry. Kate! See, we're doing the later streams for Kate now because she can't wake up early enough to do the 10 a.m. streams. Klaus is totally ready to get on the eggs, isn't he? Honest AF, Keto Cowboy. Hello, everybody. Yes, we're back on the diet soda today. Can't wait till the vegans start trying to tear this apart. All right, so I'm going to send out the invites to the boys here. And we'll not waste too much time today. I just wanted to get in here, say I'm sorry for being late, and then, you know, warm you guys up a little bit. As it were, you know? So, we'll see how how Joe handles the situation here with the Gmail. Gray hair. I am very sickly. I woke up at 1:42 this morning. It was the lightest I've seen on the scale in a long time. But the shreds are there, man. The shreds. Come on. Yes, plant-based news. Klaus from plant-based news. Satan Klaus. No, it's Santa Claus. Come on. Tofu Tommy's in the chat. Welcome to the chat, Tofu Tommy. Glad to hear that you're addicted to the soda, bro. Well, see, you're on that full sugar. Because you're already on the plants, you're already on the heavy carbs, so like that sugar is not going to really affect you. Ooh, Hench Fartivore. What'd you think about that? Did you think that the vegan assassin got his first stab wound into Klaus last night? I have a feeling that the poison is going to be sinking in. That vegan assassin poison is deep, cuts deep. They want to challenge the king. They want to come up and they want to see. It's not an argument that we're going to have. We're not going to talk studies. All I'm going to do is look them in the eyes and tell them that they can do better than the vegan diet. They deserve better. That's just being honest. But if I claim Klaus as another vegan life, then I will accept. It's a pretty notoriable kill. How many of you guys saw Game of Thrones last night? No spoilers, by the way. You drop a spoiler, you're getting banned. Straight banned. Mr. Joe, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. Well, this is fantastic. Your first try. Great work. I'm going to bring you on in just 1 second after I answer this last question.
All right.
Well, maybe 2 quick questions. Taylor says, did you have gut issues from veganism? That's what I'm dealing with right now. Did carnivore help you heal? I'm doing like 15 supplements a day and working with a naturopath. Taylor, please stay tuned. I need you to watch this entire episode today. And just trust me, just stay tuned. Stay tuned, okay? And yes, carnivore helped me a lot. So I'll just say that. Senka says, you're drinking diet soda, you're craving sugar. I think everybody likes a little bit of sugar flavor here and there, but yes, if I was drinking milk, I wouldn't need soda. Let's just stop there. Okay. Now let's bring our first guest on today, Joe, and we're going to introduce him. Joe. Mr. Joe Rice, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the channel.
Thanks, sir.
I'm going to introduce you a bit from what I know and get people acclimated to Joe Rice. So, all right, guys, Joe Rice, he is a 44-year-old man, not a 50-plus-year-old man, as I said.
43.
43. Can you get there? Okay, 43. You said 44 yesterday, didn't you? No, okay.
No, I didn't.
Okay, my bad. Okay,
Probably less gray hair than you got, though.
I know, right?
Let's just get that straight.
Let's get that straight. Joe said he was going to have to get me back for saying he was an elderly man, so this is... I thought he was 50-plus. Anyways, I thought that's what he told me. All right, guys, so listen, we got Joe Rice, 43 years old, out of Tennessee. Joe has been a carnivore since July of last year, so we're going on, what, 8 months now?
About 10.
10 months. Okay, 10 months carnivore. He's lost 100 pounds. Primarily, the style of diet that you're eating or that you're doing is, from what I understand, is essentially an intermittent fasting where you've set up like an every other day eating protocol.
I've gone a lot more intuitive eating. So for the vast majority of the weight that I was losing, I was really going, I was eating Saturday and Sunday and
that's it.
Fasting through the week. Yeah, that was it.
Wow. So that would obviously, to a lot of people, 5 days of fasting, just water, seems crazy to them. What were you doing to supplement your week? Like, were you doing any electrolytes or how did that work for you? You just straight through it?
I just sucked it up, yeah.
Sucked it. So you were feeling it a little bit, would you say? Like, not the most comfortable thing, or were you just like on rainbows and sunshine?
No, I never felt it. I mean, it was, I never had any issue. I mean, I tried salt a couple of times, just not necessarily salt water, but just, a pinch on the tongue or something like that.
Gotcha.
And it tended to make me a little lightheaded, so I knocked that off. And who knows why? I kind of am of the opinion that there was enough salt in my fat stores that as I was breaking that down, it was replenishing my electrolytes. So
that's interesting you say that, because when I was a vegan, particularly like when I gained all my fat, like I was still doing a very low salt diet. So maybe there's something to that where my fat didn't have much salt to begin with. So as I'm sitting there breaking down that fat, I don't have any salt stores. So I felt quite lightheaded, or I still do feel quite lightheaded when I go deep into the day with the intermittent fasting.
Right. Yeah. I've never made a point to cut back on salt.
Okay. So you went from roughly 300 to around 200 or so, I think you said.
Yep.
In about 10 months, 100 pounds. That's fantastic. How do you feel in general these days?
Incredible.
Awesome.
my sleep is is so much better. You know, obviously when I was heavier, I snored a lot and things of that nature. So that's all gone away. My fiance tends to wake up in the middle of the night and just check to make sure I'm still breathing.
You're sleeping too well.
Oh yeah, I don't move. It's just I'm just like a log. And when it's time to get up, you know, after about 7.5 hours, my eyes pop open and they won't shut again. I mean, and I've never been a morning person my entire life. You know, I worked construction and for the majority of my adult life, and we tend to have to get up early in the morning. Mm-hmm. But I've never been able to adjust to that routine. But since doing this, my sleep is just incredible. I can wake up to an alarm clock I never could before. Things of that nature. It's just it's changed things in a way I never could have expected. So that's kind of the weird thing to me, I think.
Now, I know that you started the carnivore and the weight loss, they came together. So do you attribute the good feeling now to one or the other? Like, do you think it's the way that you've been fasting, or do you think it's because carnivore allowed you to do that? Or do you think you just feel better because you lost the weight? Like, what do you think is the main thing, or is it just all together?
It's all together because I tried to lose weight. I've tried to lose weight before in my life. I mean, and it never worked. I mean, to the point that I've gone to my doctor and said, Doc, he says, hey, you need to lose some weight. I'm like, hey, I'm ready. Tell me what to do. He says, eat more, or eat less, move more. I'm like, tried it, don't work. Give me something else. Because I tried that back in my 20s, and like I said, it did not work at all. Lost a little bit of weight, gained a little bit of muscle, was lethargic, foggy, got the brain fog and everything to go along with it. And it was a constant battle, six small meals a day, low fat, high fiber, and I've never had gut issues from fiber or anything like that. So I'm not, that's the reason why I was not afraid to give this a shot.
Yeah. I think that's a key thing, by the way.
It just never worked. So.
Right. But you never tried veganism or anything like that in the past? Never tried a plant-based diet? That wasn't one of the directions you went to try and lose weight before, or just for fun?
No, man, not in this part of the country.
Yeah, I have a feeling. Down in the South, they like their meats.
You show up to a potluck here and something didn't die for you to get it there.
Yeah.
It better have some Blue Mountains on it.
That's right, baby. But you need the silver bullets. If it was vegetables, it'd be having butter on it or something like that, at least, at the very least.
There's bacon on it.
There's bacon on it.
But right. Just butter won't do, yeah.
Beautiful. All right, so you came forth and you offered yourself up for this experiment, which was great. You knew that I had a vegan in the wings ready to go, and you were the first one to step forward, and we got in contact, and I felt like you were such a great opponent to, not that this is a battle, but it's like it is two people starting out on something at the same time. They will be included in the same experiment, opposing each other essentially. And so the reason I called upon a person eating an omnivore diet, at the very least, I wanted a carnivore ideally, which Joe is, was because the opposing end, the vegan end, our young man Nathan, he was wanting to keep his ethics intact. He wasn't quite sold on the fact of just trying a carnivore diet for the sake of trying a carnivore diet. He wanted to make sure that I was offering the same deal I offered Plantriotic and Ted Carr, which was that if they went carnivore for 30 days, I would go vegan. So essentially, there's no additional buy kill by them trying this window of food. So Joe was, curious enough and nice enough to come forward and offer himself to this experiment so that this other vegan could experiment with the carnivore diet, and Joe could basically eat what he was eating. Joe even made a joke today that he bought a cloth belt and he wasn't even going to wear leather belts. I don't know if you were joking or not, but that was pretty funny.
No, I'm not joking, man. I got a cloth belt.
So you were going vegan, not just plant-based. He was going vegan for 30 days.
That was the deal, right?
Mm-hmm. See, Joe's willing to go all the way, and this is what I like about this guy. He's willing to literally do this. On top of that, I pitched you the additional difficulty of getting blood tests from our boy Dave Feldman, who graciously is helping out and assisting in this experiment in his own way. And you were all for it. You wanted to get blood tests before, blood tests after. Like, that's a great thing for you to know just to begin with. And it's a very important part of the whole experiment, just so that we can see any changes in the blood work before and after. It's going to be very interesting.
Right.
So, yeah, I just want to thank you for...
Hey, I'm interested to know what my blood work is, because I haven't... I don't know if I've ever had my cholesterol checked. I'm not one to go to the doctor too often.
And those blood tests...
They failed me so many times, I just quit going years and years and years ago. So
I know. And the vegans wonder why we don't want to go to vegan doctors to get our guts checked, because we know that the doctors on both sides fail. You know what I mean? Like, we're on our own, man. We're on our own.
Yeah.
So yeah, the blood test, to go back into that, was, you said you didn't have your cholesterol checked, but these particular blood tests, just so the audience knows, is an extremely thorough panel. These blood tests, if you wanted to go get them done at your own clinic, would be running you about $1,000. So these are like Olympic level, athlete blood tests. This is no joke type of blood tests. These aren't just getting your resting blood glucose tested and maybe your testosterone. This is an entire panel of everything. So sorry about that. Okay. So now this is where we stand, guys. We don't have another contestant. Sorry to bait you. So here's the twist. Our vegan dropped out of the experiment this morning. I got the text from him very early morning. He's obviously in Australia. And to my and Joe's disappointment, he has withdrawn from the experiment. Essentially, he let us know that he couldn't justify it. He told us flat out that after thinking about this hard and true, it just wasn't going to be worth it for him. So it was news to both of us, and it's a shitty thing to have happened, but what we're going to have to do now is we got Joe here in the wings, and what we are going to do is have a call to action to anybody in the audience, or if you know anybody that is willing to step forth and bite the bullet for 30 days, just 30 days, guys. And we have a carnivore, not just an omnivore, a carnivore, willing to go vegan, not just plant-based, but vegan for 30 days. Because you are genuinely curious about the vegan diet. You're wondering, you told me that there was some positives potentially for you with the vegan diet that you could enjoy.
Yeah. I don't see it as a long-term solution. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I went carnivore. For a number of reasons, it's so much easier than anything else I've ever even considered. So veganism is complete 180 from easy. From what I can tell. But as far as health implications, there's a possibility on a short term it could give you some positive results. I'm still looking to get down, just the last little bit of belly fat.
Aren't we all?
That might, it might help going through a little period of malnutrition or something.
Right. And you kind of said that you were excited to sort of like gorge a bit and eat a bunch of food.
Yeah, a little bit, man. And I do at times, but it I might eat, 2 steaks and 3 eggs or something one night. But that usually keeps me going for 3 or 4 days.
And we can,
but I like food. I like varieties of food. I love the fruits and vegetables. So yeah, I mean, it'll be nice to get a little bit of that back in, at least for a short time.
Right. And I felt like your story against, the vegan volunteer story was so compelling because you guys were so different, not just in the diets, but like lifestyle, part of the country. Like, he's in Australia, you're in the South. It's like the perfect, I don't know what I got in my throat, but it's like the perfect mixture of, incompatibility basically. And we really see like what would happen. And it's so interesting. And I know another vegan will come forth to step up and do this, because there's so many people right now that are looking for a reason to try meat, basically, because they're watching podcasts and they're watching, interviews like this. Like, this is your chance, guys. This is your chance as a vegan to experiment 30 days free of charge on our dime. The carnivore is taking the bullet for you. He's going to eat your diet. It's never going to get easier than this. If you've been wanting to try animal foods, this is your freaking chance. Not only that, but you're going to get a hookup on insane blood tests, which are going to tell you exactly where you're at health-wise before and after. You're going to be donating so much good information to science, man. Like, this should be, if you're a vegan, you should be wondering what's going on here. Matt Bond asks, free of charge, you are paying for the food. I'm not paying for the food. However, you're going to have to supplement that yourself. Yeah, I'm sorry. That wasn't part of the deal. So anyway, but the blood tests, if you're in the U.S., they wouldn't be free. But generally everywhere else outside the U.S. that has a socialized healthcare system, your blood test will probably be free, just so you know. So people are saying 30 days isn't enough days. Listen, this is a start. And, let's say we had our other experimenter here with us. This could be something that we could extend past 30 days if you guys were into it. I wouldn't demand that, but I would say, hey, if you guys want to keep going, we could run this out another 30 days or whatever the case is, or set that up as a parameter for the next test, guys. There can always be another test.
I don't know if what Bart K said yesterday, if everything he said was right, 30 days might be plenty for me.
Right, exactly. And I've got other people that you're a fan of, has given his own thoughts and opinions on what may happen with the blood work, etc. So it's going to be very interesting to see if those things come to fruition. It kind of gives what's cool about the blood test is it gives people who sound like they know what they're talking about on YouTube, the Bart K's, the Dave Feldmans, these guys, it allows them to make a prediction and put it in writing or put it in a video, basically. And then if that comes true, it kind of gives their platform more credence, They can prove themselves to be sort of like these crystal ball wizards because they think they know what's going to happen with the blood work. So it's pretty interesting. So that all being said, guys, we need a vegan. We're going to run a hashtag we need a vegan campaign. And I was a bit, I got to say, from a personal level, I was very disappointed. Not only because, me and the vegan guy have been going back and forth for a week now. He made a video. He posted it on YouTube calling me out specifically by name. I contacted him immediately. He doesn't have a social media following or anything like that. I don't think he was planning to start a social media following with his call out or anything like that. I think he was genuinely interested. And then he was trying to call me out, of course, to do the swap with him. Not that I think it would have mattered in the end. I don't think it had anything to do with the fact that it was me or Joe, doing the experiment. But it's it disappoints me on the level.
Social circle got to him. I mean, that's the most likely scenario.
It's disappointing because you really see where the vegan heads are at. Like, this is so much bigger than him, and you can't possibly think that eating animal foods for 30 days is going to do something to you. And if you do, well, guess what? You get to go back to the plants after the 30 days and heal all the damage back up, right?
Yeah.
So what? There's
no
no danger.
We removed the ethical issue.
Yes.
There is, and in fact, more animals are likely going to die because he didn't do this. Because I'm going to eat a whole lot of chicken, and he could have gone through. He could have gone through it with a lot of cheese and eggs and milk,
right?
But
you're doubling down.
Die this month because I need ribeye.
You need ribeye. So do I. I had to eat chicken today. It was just barely satisfactory.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think? I mean, what does the chat think? What does the audience think of this? We were bamboozled, in other words. Like, I feel a bit let down. I feel like, obviously we're still going to run this experiment. We're still going to have a vegan come forth. I guarantee you that. I've already reached out to several big name vegan YouTubers that are interested in potentially doing it themselves, but also getting somebody from their audience interested. So, vegans, come on, pull your end of the bargain. Yeah, I'm not mad at this one. What's that?
Somebody step up.
Somebody will step up. Exactly. Yeah, so I talked to Plant. Somebody mentioned to get Jackson on the experiment, Plantriotic. I already offered it to him, guys. He was the first person I went to. I said, look, you've been teeter-tottering. You've been getting, basically getting views off this whole thing. Now it's time to put your money where your mouth is. We got a carnivore ready to go. And he'd be a great candidate because he's been already prepping his audience and prepping the world for this. But he said that, he said he wasn't going to be the guy this time around.
Hey, John Venus is ready.
John Venus is ready. John Venus is in LA right now. He said that he was going to try and make time for me this week to do an in-person interview. So we'll see. Let's see. Try and make time. I like that. Let's see. Clown Mazard says, just make sure you won't get some vegan who would sabotage the whole experiment just to prove that meat is bad for you. So that's the cool thing about the blood test is it kind of keeps them honest. Because if we see no change at all, then chances are they probably weren't even switching anything in their diet. You know what I mean? So kind of like, what were you doing over there? Because we expect to see some change for better or worse. We don't know what's going to happen. But, if it's just exactly the same, then they probably weren't really diving in too deep on the animal foods. And to be honest with you guys, I liked the vegan that we had for this experiment chosen. However, he wasn't going to be going carnivore. So he was going to be doing an omnivore type diet, and that leaves a lot of variability in what he could be consuming. So I feel like we might be able to get an even better candidate, somebody who's willing to jump full carnivore for 30 days. And there's nothing crazy about that. I went from 4.5 years as a vegan to 40 days of carnivore right off the bat, So it can be done. It could definitely be done. Sarah says, no real vegan will do it. We'll see. Tell Jackson 100 people will go reducitarian to offset his meat eating. Yeah, I'll get 100 people from the audience to say, all right, I'll eat rice today instead of a chicken leg. That's come on. If we're talking ethics here, we're talking mathematics here. The vegans have to understand that. Ashley Stevens says, yes, Drew, you're ignoring the whole ethical side of things. It's not all about health. Well, I think you're disagreeing with me, but that's what Joe and I have discussed now is we've taken care of the ethical side. There's no ethical leg to stand on from a vegan perspective. Joe is going to eat the vegan diet for a month. It doesn't get better.
If not, I'm eating a lot of meat, so
it's going to be worse. It's like he's got the animals at hostage now. Primal Edge Health says 100 audience members pledge to get abortions if Jackson goes carnivore for a month. Jackson, I will, oh God, what is Jackson vasectomied? No, he's not. I don't think he is. Ashley says, I don't get it. Avoiding the plants, fruits, and grains would minimize the harm to the environment and save more animals. They don't even understand the real ethical argument. Yes, we agree. Redheaded Princess, you don't even need an ethical vegan. You could use a health vegan. I'll take any vegan. I don't care what. Yeah. It's just that this does offset the ethical argument. So it allows somebody who would otherwise have an issue taken care of. It's, you don't have to worry about it. This is why we're doing this. Otherwise I would just say, hey, let me get 10 vegans that are willing to go carnivore for 30 days. And they're all like, no, thank you. We've taken that out of the equation, guys. We're a step ahead. You see?
That was one of the things that I thought was so interesting about your offer when you offered it to Jackson. I thought, that's actually pretty altruistic of you. You're offering him something that he could never do on his own.
Correct. And I didn't want to do it. Don't get me wrong. Right. We're both in the same boat. I don't want to eat vegan for 30 days. And even though he half-assed made the offer back to me afterwards, because if I would have said yes, he probably would have gotten cold feet anyways. Who knows?
Yeah.
But he kind of was like, you know what? Like let's. And I was like, you know what? I don't even want to do it. So let's not even talk about it because I cannot eat vegan for 30 days right now. I will destroy my gut again. And that's more important to me than this experiment, Right. So I need to finish out and see where I'm at health-wise before I can throw down a bunch of, broccoli and beans again, you know what I mean? Even though I do eat beans, I do eat beans. I just had beans 20 minutes ago, but yeah, so it's not worth it to me right now.
Yeah, no, see, I cut everything out. I cheated a little bit this past weekend because I was at my cousin's wedding, so there was a little cake, little cookies,
little cake, little drinks, couple drinks.
No, actually, I did not drink. I stuck with the water.
Wow.
Yeah, of course, I was driving, had my kids with me, so
Understandable.
gotta be careful with that stuff. So
for sure, whether I'm carnivore or whether I'm vegan, I'm drinking at the wedding. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't try and stop me from the wine bar.
That's usually been my experience as well, but it wasn't not necessarily that kind of crowd either. So there was a little bit of that. It was the couple's about my age. Like I said, it was my cousin getting married, so there were a lot of kids there that were my kids' age, and so it wasn't a bunch of 20-somethings around, living it up for the last time.
I got into a little hot water at the Evan Megan Rock wedding back in Hawaii because I got pretty drunk at that one.
Yeah,
there's some footage. There's some footage of me. I broke some glasses. It was a mess. But
I'm just glad that when I was growing up, when I was your age, everybody didn't have a video camera in their hand.
Man, yeah, I know. I had to make some apologies the next morning. It was pretty. It was pretty nuts. But all right, so let's see. Primal Edge Health says, "I want to see full day of pooping videos from your month of vegan." Well, that's all the vlogging would be. It's like, hey guys,
that'll be a direct message. I'm not putting that out on Instagram or anything.
Yep,
I'm definitely not doing it on YouTube.
Yeah, we got it. So, Joe, let's use this time to talk about what we hope to maybe gain or see during this experiment, and also like what do you feel is a logistically feasible parameters for you and whoever else decides to step up to follow? Like, obviously, the blood tests.
I like the Dave Feldman approach of documenting your food. Stick your hand down next to it, take a picture of it. This is what I'm eating.
Okay.
That was kind of my plan. I was just going to steal that idea right from him.
Okay.
Because one, I'm not measuring food. I'm not weighing food.
Right.
That's the whole reason why I did carnivore and not keto. Yep. I looked at keto for, I think it was about 2 minutes and 43 seconds. And I said, nah, no, thank you.
Yeah.
That looks absolutely retarded.
I hear you. I don't like the idea of, like trying to get some carbs in. And on top of that, I basically was trying to eat greens when I first went carnivore along with the meat. I was like, okay, well, this is like 10 grams worth of carbs. I'm definitely keto still or carnivore or whatever. And I was getting like stomach pains and stuff like that from eating big bunches of kale and big bunches of steamed whatever,
Yeah. Yeah. That was probably a couple of years ago when I looked at keto and I heard something about it and people were saying they were having great success. And so I looked at it and I said, man, that's not sustainable. I could, with my schedule, my lifestyle, just my personality, there was no way that I was going to be able to do that for any period, any lengthy period of time. And so I literally just put it out of my mind. And last year I was sitting and listening to Jordan Peterson on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he started talking. I mean, look, like 10 minutes of a 3-hour video literally changed my life. I started looking into, he started talking about his daughter and the success they had just switching only to meat. I literally said to myself, that can't be a thing. There's no way.
I thought it was so stupid when I first heard it. It was ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna pull up your pictures if you don't mind and show the audience.
Yeah. I guess that's gonna be out there.
Might as well, because they're very impressive. I mean, like, I think that they're incredibly telling. Just pulling it up for you guys here. Man, before you just, you're so red
That-
too, man. Like your face, I'm looking at it right now. Like
oh
you look
yeah,
like
oh yeah. I had high blood pressure. To the point I didn't even check it anymore. I stopped looking at my blood pressure because,
so.
to be honest, I'd resigned myself to the fact that I was going to die pretty early,
Right.
and it was likely going to happen pretty quick because I wasn't about to go to a doctor and let them allow me to deteriorate slowly. I would rather just go ahead and get it over quick. So, I watched my grandmother get turned into a torso in a chair, um, and I wasn't gonna let that happen. So
And that's Joe now, guys. Look at
I did shave. I have shaved, but
that's a different person.
that's what my fiance says. She doesn't even recognize me when we pull up. I'm thankful for her that I even have before pictures because I never wanted to see myself on camera. I mean, I never wanted to see pictures of myself. I mean, and that's gone on for decades. That started when I was younger.
Yeah. How long were you like significantly overweight?
Well, pretty much my whole life. The lowest I've gotten outside of high school was maybe 220, 225 pounds. And it took me
And how
at
tall are
least
you?
10 months. I'm 6'3".
Okay.
And it took me at least 6 or 8 months to drop. I think at that time it was maybe 20, 25 pounds. And that was eating, small portions, never once being satisfied after eating a meal, and just literally working my ass off in the gym.
Yeah. Would you call this
2
effortless,
hours
basically?
a day. What's that?
Would you call your new method pretty much effortless with the carnivore thing?
Oh, absolutely. I didn't step foot in the gym until I think it was maybe December. Most of the weight had already come off, and I was just looking to, at some point I'm going to get into a routine of going so I can tone my muscle a little bit more. Right now, like I said, I'm at about 200, 6'3", so I'm fairly lean. I got just a little bit of a spare tire. That's kind of, a little bit of it might be skin, so I may tweak my routine a little bit, throw a little dry fasting in there to, try to tighten that up, some stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's been pretty much effortless.
Did you get the dry fasting idea from Snake Diet?
Yes. Yeah, I think that's where I got it. I also ran into early on, and this is I think he's a kind of a plant-based channel called A Healthy Alternative, but most of what they were pushing was water fasting, and I think they may have had a little dry fasting in there too. I was listening to a lot of Jason Fung, things of that nature. Of course, I kind of quit watching the Healthy Alternative when I found out they were plant-based. I was like, yeah, dude, that doesn't work for me. But
what? So somebody wanted to ask you, like, what did you plan on eating for the vegan diet? Like, what was your vision of like first meal?
I think a large portion of my calories would be rice and beans, some nut butter in the morning, homemade, because I can't. I won't eat anything with corn oil or soybean oil. But I was going to get like some almonds, macadamia nuts. Probably throw the flax seeds in there for my omega-3s and just make that as part of the nut butter to make it a little bit more palatable. And the maceration of the blender may make it a little more bioavailable. But who knows? With maybe a little fruit. Actually, on the way back up from my cousin's wedding, we were going through the tip of Georgia and stopped at a little fruit stand there, and I've got a cantaloupe sitting in the fridge that I was ready to crack that thing open.
So you're excited to be vegan, man. I mean, you might just.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm excited to give it a shot. I mean, mostly I'm just excited for this just the whole idea of this, man.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea you came up with, and I mean, let's do it.
Cool, man. So, what I'm gonna do my best to get somebody in here. I mean, that's my goal now. And then, if you want to just remain in the wings, basically, and we'll be in touch. Anything you need from me, get in touch with me. Did you get in contact with Dave, by the way?
No, I haven't gotten in touch with him yet.
Okay.
But yeah, I look forward to talking to him.
Yeah, we still want to get your blood test done. Might as well just knock that out beforehand, and you'll have an extra few days now. Because I'm assuming once we got the blood test going into this experiment, once we added that layer of, logistics, basically, I was assuming that the test wouldn't start till like Saturday or Friday or something like that. Like you guys would have to go get your blood test done this week at some point at your schedule's admittance. So,
going back to what I was planning to eat.
Yeah.
I was also, just because of where I live, was probably going to be incorporating a lot of summer squash and things of that nature for plant matter and flavor, and some root vegetables, carrots, potatoes, things like that. But no soy, no flour, no corn.
So you're like, you have the ideal vegan diet already in your head, because it's just funny to me that there's so many vegans out there that are eating like crap versions of the vegan diet, and they're still scared to eat animal foods, or they think animal foods are unhealthy for you, but yet they're eating the trashiest vegan food. Like Klaus from Plant Based News yesterday was like, every vegan I know is unhealthy, and I'm unhealthy because we're all eating shit vegan food. Like, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing?
Yeah, it's the processed food. It's the processed carbs and the seed oils and stuff. I mean,
yeah, I'm with you on that.
If you just look into how that stuff's made, man, I just I'm done. I'm done with it. Give me some whole foods, and I'll eat whatever whole foods you put in front of me. But I just don't want processed crap. It's garbage.
I think that that's an important part of this experiment. And I think that the next, like the vegan that I get involved, whoever that eventually will be, needs to understand that you're going to be eating the sort of ideal whole food plant-based diet. And they need to come at it with the same approach, where they can't just go out and eat hamburgers and French fries every day. If that's what they're, if they're dying as a vegan to do that, like, no. We got to have some ground rules here. You got to be eating pretty damn clean. Don't be out there eating mock meats every single day and all this other stuff that's just soy product and crap. So that is another important thing.
Whole food meat based would be preferable, and meat based, loosely defined, maybe 40 to 50% animal foods, and the rest, whatever plant.
A high amount of animal foods, and I would say 40 to 50% would suffice for me. I'd like to see them go full carnivore with a tiny bit of plant foods.
Definitely. Yeah.
But it is what it is. Like, for instance,
I'd love to see them cut out the plant food altogether. I mean,
same. Imagine that, right?
Just because the benefits of it, they can't even comprehend the difference that removing that cup or two of salad that you have with your steak can make.
I agree with you.
You have no idea what effect that might be having on your body until it's completely gone. And it took me a couple of weeks to adjust when I went carnivore, but it was easy, man. I came from a standard American diet, and I was carb addicted, and I would literally drink a gallon of sweet tea when I got home from work. I mean, that was, and that was on top of, my 44-ounce soft drink that I'd stop and get at the gas station for breakfast,
full sugar,
and then another one at lunch. But at the same time, cutting that stuff out never yielded me decent results. Because I was still eating the grains and the corn and the soy that was in every processed product that you have. And so, it takes cutting every single bit of that out, at least for a short time. And you don't have to do it. I'm not scared of that stuff now. I mean, I don't have any problem. I wouldn't have any problem grabbing an off the shelf salad dressing or something like that if that's all that's available. And I just really wanted something, and it,
You're a
eating
bit more
sociable.
resilient now, is what it comes down to. Like
Oh,
your system is a lot more
absolutely.
healed up, and you can handle it.
Yeah.
Whereas,
Yeah.
like as a vegan, and I can say this with definite certainty, my food choices were getting smaller and smaller as time went on because I was becoming more like my body was resisting eating more and more foods as time went on. Like I could only, I could only eat so many different things. I even know people who got allergic to bananas after 10 years of being vegan, literally allergic to bananas. So vegans think that they're, doing themselves favors. They're not restricted. No, the diet itself will restrict you because your body's going to create these like, mechanisms that say, hey, no more, I'm done.
Yeah.
If you eat enough of that food. So,
yeah.
All right. So, where should we take this today? I'm happy to sit around and answer some questions with you in the audience. If anybody has any questions for Joe, hi Tess, welcome to the channel.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I figured today we keep this short and brief, and then we just put the word out, and I keep, pushing the pavement, trying to get more people in here, more vegans that are willing to jump on. Sound good? Can you hear me, Joe?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Hey, I'm waiting on questions, man.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Somebody asked me, have I tried vegetarian? No, because like we just discussed, cutting out the plant foods is the benefit to leaving veganism versus just supplementing animal foods. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it was
if you hadn't gone raw, complete vegan, you may have been able to stay with vegetarianism for possibly for a lifetime. I mean, you can get pretty much everything you need from milk and eggs.
I agree. I agree with that. However, I do want to say that I still do believe in the negative effects of high fat and high carbohydrates being consumed together, which essentially is a vegetarian diet. Vegetarians, in my opinion, every vegetarian I've ever seen they're not skinny fat, but they are like more like fat. Like every vegetarian I've seen struggles with weight. So I'm just saying there might be something to that. So what do we got here? The fact that vegans say they care about the health of our planet and animals not dying is legit an oxymoron. You are a walking oxymoron. Well, that may be true. You think Tofu Tommy will leave veganism, huh? He's actually been interested in my channel lately, and I actually didn't know who he was until he made a comment yesterday. So might have to do an interesting with old Tofu Tommy. Yeah, he said that Jacko Wacko Vegano got some disgusting hate for leaving the vegan diet recently. Yeah, he did. Jacko did kind of bring it on himself. He was making hella, satire videos talking shit on ex-vegans, so it is what it is. He made his bed. He's got to lie in it now. Joe, are you a fan of Svirage or anybody else in the carnivore sphere online? Do you follow anybody?
Man, you want the whole list?
Sure.
I mean, I've listened to a lot of Svirage's stuff. I really like the way that he conducts interviews where he was doing the ex-vegans. I mean, he's got a really good interview style. It's really just ask as simple a question as you can and shut up and let them talk. It really works. Some of the stuff he does, it's a little far-fetched for me, but big fan of Frank Tufano, Sean Baker, Amber O'Hearn, Georgia E, Nina Tassels. I mean, just kind of, I've been all over the space. Like I said, 10 months ago, Jordan Peterson, talked for, 10 minutes out of a 3-hour video, sent me down a wormhole that I hadn't been able to get out of.
So, you mentioned like Amber O'Hearn, like you get kind of deep into the, the science of it. Like you wanted to understand.
Somewhat, yeah. One of the things that I try to do is not necessarily get bogged down in the details of the science, but to try to understand the science as a whole and figure out where it fits with everything else that I know. Because if you, one of the things that Jason Fun likes to say, if all you got's a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So you take somebody that's a biologist, and the only thing they look at is the biology. They don't look at the neurology, right? You take a heart surgeon, and he goes, what role does the heart have to play in obesity? And he doesn't look at the hormones. So if you can't look at the whole body, if you can't look at the entire space, and it's not just the body, but the environment. I mean, you look at how unnatural is it for for somebody in the middle of Canada to be eating a mango in the middle of January, but they're up there. Look at Dr. Jack Cruz and the work that he's done on red light red light therapy, and just the idea that eating a food from say the fifth parallel on the earth and consuming it on the 35th parallel, we have no idea what effect that might have on the human body. So
yeah, we just don't know. We're not saying it has any effect. We just don't know if it does have an effect. We're staying open to that, right?
Exactly. But there's nothing natural about it.
Correct. There's nothing natural about it. You're right on that.
Yeah. So that and that's the reason why as far as my diet goes, there was going to be a lot of summer squash in there because that grows here now.
Yeah.
That's something that I could go down to. Now this may not be where it's coming from. Farmers markets are hard to find around here sometimes, but that would be my first choice.
Tess just asked, I missed the beginning. Will he be taking a blood test before and after? Yes, Joe is open to taking a blood test before and after the experiment. A very, very thorough blood test provided to us by Dave Feldman, which is an awesome dude who is deep into the blood laboratory science of all these type of diets, and that makes this all the more legitimate and all the more interesting. Now, Tofu Tommy, you're in the chat. I want to ask you, what do you think about jumping on board as the vegan here? You said that you were vegan for the animals, which I totally understand, although we can debate back and forth whether or not the animal ethics are a real thing or not, but let's just push that to the side for now. Now that we have a carnivore who's willing to eat a vegan diet in your place, wouldn't that entice you to potentially want to try? If you're vegan for the animals and there's somebody who's willing to take care of that aspect for you, is there something like gross to you about consuming the animals in the first place that you wouldn't want to just do? You don't want their flesh in your body? Like, can you shed a little more light on what might be stopping vegans from wanting to participate in this? Because I'm sensing a lot of fear, to be honest, from the vegans. And that's what I was sensing from our vegan participant who pulled out of the experiment, was just he wasn't sure what was going to happen. And it was too great of a risk for him to embark on this. You know what I mean?
That's scary, man. It's going to force them to have to re-examine their entire way of thinking. So.
Right. Yeah. Somebody said it is really hard for vegans to do this. You lose your whole identity. Yeah, and that's the danger of wrapping your identity into an ideology, right?
Yeah. What does your identity have to do with your diet? I mean, that's
right. Well, if you've become this animal activist that says, meat is murder, and you start associating these things with each other that shouldn't really be associated in the first place, then you've really backed yourself into a corner, And guys, we've all of us ex-vegans have been in that boat. Like, it's not a comfortable thing to go tell family members and friends, by the way, I was totally wrong. Because this is not something you can hide from. Becoming an ex-vegan is the most humbling experience I think anybody will go through in their life. Like, to look friends and family in the eye and say, by the way, all that shit I gave you back then, yeah, I'm not only an omnivore now, I'm a fucking carnivore. It's the word, like, I went the opposite direction. And by the way, it works pretty good.
I don't know, man. I don't know. You walk outside with a Trump hat on over there.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
That might be a little more humbling, yeah.
True. Somebody made a comment on Raw Alignment's channel. They said, "Hey, your boyfriend Drew has been supporting Trump recently. I don't see you guys working together." And it's like, this is somebody who's never been a Trump supporter in her life or talking politics in her life. Yet people are trying to use these like political wedges any way they can. Just trying to use it some way they can to cause problems. Pretty funny, man. Trump 2020. Trump 2020. I mean, you're down there in the South. You know, I'm sure there's a lot of support there for him, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I love. You know what I love is when I see different ethnicities, like minorities, supporting Trump. That's like the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Because you know that's not popular with their culture.
Yeah, the whole walk away thing's gotten pretty huge. So that was really interesting. I watch a few of those every now and then. It's interesting to see kind of where those particular individuals get their motivation to walk away. But
what is this walk away thing?
We can get out of the it's a hashtag walk away campaign. It's on YouTube. Just YouTube hashtag walk away. And it was, I forget who it was started by. I think it was a college kid or something, but yeah, he posted something and it wound up going viral. And so now all these people are telling stories about why they're getting out of the Democrat Party, leaving the plantation kind of thing. And really, really, really interesting.
People is waking up.
Absolutely.
See, my channel here, it's funny. Like I got, Dr. Michael Fartface. I think he's generally a supporter of me. But I said the Trump thing and he said, fuck Trump. And then it said, fuck Drew too. And it's funny, as an admin, you have to show the text because it has curse words in it. But I show that. I put it to the chat. Go for it. Say fuck.
Well, Drew. I mean, that kind of mindset isn't a whole lot different than veganism. I mean, they're unwilling at this point to look at things from a different viewpoint and actually analyze the facts.
Correct.
They just, and that's, hey, whatever. I'm willing to try different stuff and, see things from different perspectives. It's
right.
Unfortunate they're not able to, but.
Yeah, it's a dangerous world when even suggesting that potentially the opposite side might have a sliver of a point gets you into deep hot water with your people. Yeah. And that's what we see with Jackson. I got to keep bringing Jackson up. He's milking this damn situation, in my opinion. But
that's probably the same thing that happened to the kid that was, supposed to be on there with us. I mean, that's, probably a lot of judgment from people who. And
isn't this the funny thing?
Supposedly care about him.
Well, isn't this the funny thing? Vegans who are still vegans say, the ex-vegans, they fell to social peer pressure. No,
right.
Dummies. Yeah. Our friend groups were all vegan at that point. 4 years vegan? Like, oh yeah, I had a real problem with social peer pressure as a 4.5-year vegan. Like, I lived in Hawaii with like 20 to 30 vegans around me at all times. Like, me not being vegan was way more of an issue. Trust me.
Yeah. That's like I quit drinking because of peer pressure.
Yeah, I quit drinking because of peer pressure. Yeah, when you're a drinker, all your friends are drinkers. Like, exactly. You are the weirdo by not drinking,
Yeah.
So anyway, all right. So, I think we should probably keep this about an hour is where we're at right now. And Joe, I thank you for coming on today.
No problem. Thanks for having me, Drew.
We'll be in touch, man. Appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
All right, take it easy, man.
All right, you too. Bye.
All right, guys. So, hey, give some love to Joe. That's his first ever social media appearance that I know of. I love the fact that these guys without social media audiences want to come forward. To me, that legitimizes their position even more because they don't really have any like social media thing to gain from this. They just want to literally be a part of the experiment, share their perspective. I think Joe rocks. Total natural, by the way, behind the camera. Joe's killer. So I think he's like the best carnivore version that we're ever going to get. I love his weight loss story. I love his results. I love his attitude. Man, we couldn't ask for a better representative on the carnivore side. And by the way, he's totally willing to go full on vegan. Like I said, he texted me this morning. He goes, man, I had a cloth belt waiting for me, ready to go. So he was so excited to get this going. So we need a vegan. We need a vegan. Somebody find me a vegan. I can't believe the kid dropped out, man. I'm so sorry, guys. He literally told me this morning. And he was up for it through yesterday. So, bit disappointing. But it is what it is. Not much we can do there. Carnivore, my moderator says, fuck Drew. Yeah, fuck Drew. Keto Cowboy says, Trump is an ignoramus. Guys, we don't need to get all into politics here because guess what? Just like the diets, nobody really knows shit. All right? Let's just leave it at that. Except at least with diets, we can test things on ourselves. Share our experiences. The only political experience anybody really has is watching, you either watch Fox News or you watch CNN. All right? Let's just leave it at that. Who should film what they eat in a day and post on Drew's channel? I agree. Yeah. Joe rocks. Joe rocks. Joe, people are loving you, man. They approve of Joe the Carnivore. Going vegan and whatnot. CMC Broadcasting, welcome to the chat. CMC, hardest working man in show business. Let me tell you guys. Oh, boy. Asking a vegan to eat meat is insane. Meat eaters typically eat plants anyways. It's not insane because a lot of vegans are curious about what meat will do to them at this point anyways. And I want a vegan, by the way. I don't want some vegan on his last legs. I want a vegan who is doing well, by the way. That's another important distinction. I don't want a vegan who's just fucked up and he needs to go carnivore to save his life anyways. The interesting thing about the vegan that I had was a guy who was already in good health, still young and fit. He had no known issues on the vegan diet, and his digestion was known to be good. So I need somebody, no end-stage vegans. That's cheating. All right, I can remove the bias at least from that perspective. We don't need somebody who's going to obviously show carnivore benefits. That's not what we're trying to do here. You know, I want somebody who intends to actually go back to vegan after they're done. Ideally, you know. Matt Bond says, if a lot of vegans are curious, why are you having a hard time finding someone? Should be easy if it were true. Well, we had one come forth on his own without me even asking. So now that I'm asking, I would imagine it's going to be easier to find. Not like I have a 500,000 subscriber audience or anything like that. And plus, I don't think a lot of people are considering what we're doing for them with this experiment. We're giving them the get out of jail free card with the carnivore eating their diet. There's no excuse. There is literally no excuse. JEM says no one is going back to veganism after the meat. Matt Bond, you're a worthy troll, man. You can stick around, bro. Whatever you want to do. You're gonna eventually be on the meat. You and a few other people. I got a few trolls that are just like, they're trying to find the chink in Drew's armor. They're trying to find the weakness. They're trying to figure out where I'm lying or where I'm wrong or where I'm being intentionally full of shit. And it's just never going to happen, guys. This is the real deal. Hench Fartivore asked, did you and Vegetable Police already schedule a meeting? I don't know if I've hit 4,000 subscribers yet, but when I do, I'm sending him a screenshot. You best believe. Why do people want me to interview Izzy Davis? Is she vegan anymore? What does she even do? Why is she so interesting to people? I've heard that a few times. Get Izzy Davis on here. How will I keep them honest? That's a good question. Like, how will you know if they actually eat what they're supposed to? Well, that was part of what I wanted to talk to Joe about today. Joe's willing to take pictures of his food and like submit them or whatever. So, you know, for 30 days, it's going to be some trust involved here. And again, we're going to do blood tests before and after in the ideal circumstance. So that's going to take care of some of that variability. It's going to hold them somewhat accountable. So I think I'm going to be a little bit more picky about my next vegan. Joe's a super solid carnivore candidate. Like we're not going to get a better carnivore than Joe. So I think that as far as a vegan goes, I'm going to have to vet them a little bit. I'm going to have to make sure that they are on point and willing to go the full deal. CMC Broadcasting says, yes, get Izzy on here. CMC, I can't believe you almost did Trisha Paytas, man. What the what were you thinking, dude? I think I had a dream with her last night after watching your stream. Disturbing, okay? Disturbing. You almost damn near had a fupa chalupa. Izzy quit being 100% vegan, but now she's 95%, so she's positive. 95% vegan? What is the point of that? Why? That just makes no sense. You were subject to the peer pressure. I understand, CMC Broadcasting. Well, like I said, it would have been a smart move for your whole business. Yeah, I don't think we have to worry about Joe being honest. He's like all in. Joe's all in. He's willing to take pictures, he's willing to do blood tests, and he's paying for the blood tests on his own dime, by the way. Joe rocks, man. Joe rocks. Let's put Ravana in a van on a roast beef diet. Let CMC kick it in a mansion on salmon and eggs. Wow. If we could get CMC off the streets and into a mansion with salmon and eggs instead of roast beef from the packet, imagine the game. Imagine how square CMC's jaw would be if he got proper animal foods and he was able to actually cook for himself rather than eating fucking Oscar Mayer roast beef from the packet. Trisha Paytas lost all the weight? I don't know about that, dude. She's on the high end of thick. CMC would take every chick available. Hands down. Hey, later, Crypto Gator. Thank you for showing up. The chat is popping today. What is everybody hype right now? Let me take a sip of diet soda. See, me and CMC, we're the only real ones out here. I got diet soda. CMC's drinking Monsters on stream. CMC's got Trisha Paytas in his pocket. Damn, son. I feel like hanging out right now. What can we do here, guys? If CMC had a mansion, I'm going to bet the content wouldn't be very good. What do you mean? CMC would have cameras in every room. He would throw house parties, and there would be amazing content. Asan Doka says, I was vegan since 2009 till a few months ago. Started to eat some seafood since I moved to a fisher's village. Can't see myself eating meat again, though. Haha. Still feel guilty eating some seafood. Well, Asan Doka, if you still feel guilty, perhaps you should try eating some scallops. I hear that they have no central nervous system and they're non-sentient. You can eat those without feeling bad about yourself. Garland Farm says a carnivore can go vegan as an experiment because the thought architecture is objective, but for a vegan to do likewise would be sacrilege. I agree with you, Garland Farms. Senka says diet soda is bad for you. I'm not saying it's good for you, but anything can be handled in moderation if you're a healthy, carnivorous-based being like myself. Nah, non-diet soda is not my thing. I don't want the sugar. I really don't like it. I actually prefer the taste and everything about diet soda. During Rider will not do the experiment, guys. Night CA says, I will do it. I am confused omnivore who just wants answers I can trust. And Nature Myth says, 1 month experiment will not show anything. Well, I disagree. I don't think it's going to show everything, but what I do think will happen is, well, you know what? I don't want to poison the minds of the people that are potentially going to do this test. So you guys can talk about what you think would happen in the short term, but I think it will be very valuable information, at least from a practical perspective. Like somebody going vegan from carnivore is going to obviously feel different, and somebody going carnivore from vegan is going to obviously feel different, even if there's no major change in the blood work or anything like that. there's obviously not going to be any deficiencies that happen short term or anything like that. But I think like they're going to both notice something in their digestion, the way they feel, maybe their energy levels. I think there's going to be a lot of, ground level perspective changes, practical perspective changes. And it's important. The lipid panel will be drastically different. Well, that's the cool thing about the blood test is that's out of our hands. There's not going to be any interpretation of that from the individual, so we'll let that be the science. And then we'll take the anecdotal story from the actual individuals themselves. Coach Charles says, feeling guilty after eating food is an eating disorder. I agree. Shouldn't have to be feeling guilty after you eat food that makes you feel better. What? Alley Cat says, my blood tests are moving very slow. I've had 2 tests at 6-month intervals. Very little change, even though my diet changed dramatically. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be big changes in the blood tests. Maybe in certain markers, but again, the blood tests that they would be taking are not your average blood tests. They're very, very intense, in-depth blood tests. And I will read you what's on that. Wow, the list is nearly too long to even report, but here we go. C-reactive protein, cardiac CBC with differential platelet composition metabolic panel, 14 different things measured, cortisol, fatty acids, free non-ester, ferritin, serum ferritin, fructosamine, GGT, plasma glucagon, hemoglobin A1C, homocysteine, IGF-1, insulin and C-peptide, lipid panel, lipoprotein A, LP-PLA2 activity, NMR lipo profile, thyroid panel, TSH levels, vitamin B12 and folate, vitamin D, 25-hydroxy. What's up? You're not going to get that shit at Kaiser Permanente. I'll tell you that much. Drew, did you watch the Vegan Gains versus Sverige debate yesterday? I watched like 5 minutes of it, and from what I saw, Sverige seemed to be having Richard on the back foot. That's just, like, I don't care about promoting Sverige. Like, I don't have any dog in that fight, trust me. But I felt like Sverige was asking him some certain questions that had Richard legitimately stumped. The part that I saw was where he was talking to Richard about the cholesterol being made from the algae, something like that. And Richard kind of like backed himself into a corner, pretending to basically know more than he does. And in my opinion, exposed himself a little bit. JEM wants to know if I like exotic meats. No. I like basic shit. I like ribeye, conventional and grass-fed, and I've actually lost my taste for ground beef lately. I've been making ground beef. I have to really cook the shit out of it. I hate when ground beef is has moisture in it, like it's wet. It tastes like, it smells and tastes like wet dog to me. It's really gross. I really need to get the moisture out of it. I hate when it has any moisture in it. Could be the ground beef that I bought that one particular day, but I don't know. Ron Paul Girls wants to know, how are the dead cows and chickens going to feel on that dopey experiment? It's not a dopey experiment. This is a good experiment. I would imagine the ones that get eaten aren't going to feel too good, but the ones that Joe is saving while he's eating vegan for 30 days, they will live. So the Tennessee chickens and cows will never be so safe. Let's not forget that Drew bailed on this too. Does that make him a flake and a beta male? That's true, Nate. And by the way, well, so yeah, I did bail on this. I did publicly bail on this, although I'm not ruling it out forever. But I didn't bail on it from the perspective that I was, well, I guess I am bailing on it from the not an ethical perspective, obviously, because that would be ridiculous. I I don't care about eating plants, but from a perspective of logistics and my progress in terms of my performance, my athletic performance, and my digestive performance, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for me to do it. I would not be a good, fair subject to start out with, to be straight up. Why doesn't Joe just go vegan if you can't find another vegan? Because it would be a waste. The only way most vegans are going to even consider this is because they need to have a carnivore or somebody who's an omnivore go vegan for the month to offset the ethical concerns. Can I squat 135 pounds? Matt Bond asks. I'm sure that I could. Yeah, I'm sure that I could. My right knee is really bad, actually. It's I've got like patellar tendonitis. I've had it forever, by the way. It wasn't, God, it's not the meat. I actually developed it very much so as a vegan while cycling. And it's not the vegan diet's fault and it's not cycling's fault. It's just the way that my IT band is super tight on my right side. This kid that I used to cycle with told me that I needed to start foam rolling, and that's why you see this foam roller right here. So I make sure to use the foam roller, and it does alleviate the symptoms quite a bit, but it's not perfect. And the more weight that I squat, and the more I squat in general, even just doing body weight reps can flare it up. So I'm still working on that. Trying to make excuses. For what? Jess Winson. Bring the haters on. You little shit vegans. Bring it on. Just get the poison out now. Get the poison out, guys. Well, of course you weren't bothered by the backlash. You don't have a social media following to worry about. I mean, Joe and I hypothesized why you didn't want to follow through with the experiment, and we figured it was because of your personal social circle, which is up to you, you know? I'm not mad at anybody for pulling out of this. Like I said, the main thing is for somebody to stick to it once they start. So to pull out beforehand was better than pulling out after we started, if there's any silver lining in this whole thing. And I'll find another vegan, so it's all good. Ashley says Drew bailed on this because it would ruin his health. The other guy bailed because of his fake ethics. Different. Yeah, and again, Nate's concern was the ethical side of it. He wanted to make sure that there was at least somebody who was taking his place as a vegan, and we found that. And he still pulled out. So there's not a great reason. But hey, it is what it is. Carnivore saved the sardine? Oh, man. The irony here is that the carnivore diet going vegan is worse for the environment and animal ethics argument. I know. And I think that the world is slowly waking up to the fact that the vegan diet is actually not as ethical as they think it is, which is the most ironic thing of all of this. But in any case, we have to play the game with them and say, well, if that's a concern for you guys, then we're still going to alleviate that concern for you. And we're still going to... Nate feels too good on vegan. That's his reason. Great. Yeah, it's hard to find a vegan who wants to do this 30-day experiment that is feeling good, but that's what I want. I need a vegan that is doing good on the vegan diet. Vegan diet is the most ethical. No, it's not, Sanka. Shit has been debunked. It's not the most ethical. Grass-fed beef, most ethical diet on the planet, and healthier for you. Period. Fucking period. There's not even a discussion anymore. You can have fake ethics, and you can have shitty health or optimal health, suboptimal health on a vegan diet. As I said to this guy the other day in my comments, I think it was Vegan Revolution. I said, if you repeat these words to me, I am vegan and I accept that it is suboptimal for my health, and I am vegan and I accept that it is not as ethical as I think it is, but I still choose to do it anyways, then I can respect you. But if you're trying to still come with the health argument and you're trying to still come with the ethical argument, you have nothing. You have nothing. What really kills me is people talking about really long-term vegans that they know about. Yet I lived in Hawaii around, like, I met 100 plus vegans. Not one was a 20 or 30 year vegan. Not one. For the normal average Joe, eating vegan is much more ethical. How do you figure that? Who gives a shit about ethics anyways? The fucking animals are your food, man. It's irrelevant. Who cares? You literally feel good because you don't eat cows? It's stupid. Sorry, it's fucking stupid. Deal with it. It's your food. You're meant to eat it. Your body's built to eat it. End of story. You don't believe me? Go test it for yourself. If you don't believe me, go be carnivore for 30 days and show the world. Show the world how your health deteriorates eating animal foods for 30 days. We're going to test your blood before. We're going to test your blood after. You can prove it. You can be a fucking vegan hero when you go carnivore for 30 days and you prove that carnivore sucks. All of us are lying. And you get to go back as a vegan hero. They will hold you up and they will carry you through the fucking streets. And you'll have the best blood test in the world to prove it. This is an opportunity for any vegan who wants to make a mark. Step up. Ashley says she was vegan for 5+ years in San Diego, California, and knew 0 vegans the entire time. I didn't know any vegans in my... I live in Orange County, California, and I didn't know any vegans here either. Not one vegan in person. Well, no, I take that back. Well, I did after I went to Hawaii and I met vegans, and then they happened to be from Orange County, and then when I came back, I knew them here, so that's a different story. But yeah. Benjamin Balls with the 99-cent super chat. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. They cannot stand behind their claims in the end. Correct. What vegans say cannot be verified. It will never be verified. One Punch Vegan asks, what do you expect to change in 30 days except of the cholesterol levels, Drew? What do I expect to change? Or what do I expect to be changed? I don't think much is going to change on the blood panel. And I'm not a blood panel expert, so I don't know. I really don't know. But what I expect to happen is that the vegan is going to notice how good their digestion is going mainly carnivore. And I'm going to expect that the carnivore will notice how hungry they are between meals and how when they don't eat for like 6 or 8 hours, they start to get kind of like frantic and hangry and potentially even have some gut issues. So that's it. Other than that, I don't want to get too deep into the theory about it because I don't want to really like spoil the potential outcome of this whole thing. I wanted to just let it be. Sanka says you won't be hungry if you eat enough. Sanka, how many years vegan are you? You're like saying day one vegan shit. I was vegan for 4.5 years and I wasn't hungry either, but I still understood that when I went too long between meals, my body felt like it was weak and not able to continue on. Yeah, food breaks, toilet breaks, food break, toilet breaks. That's literally that's life as a vegan. Anytime you're about to leave the house as a vegan, I'm not even joking, you guys. You have to either factor in, do I need to shit now or do I need to shit at the place that I'm going to, and do they have a toilet? You're always shitting. God, I hated being vegan. I'm so glad. I'm like so thankful for this whole thing. You just said last night you start feeling like shit when you fast too long. Yeah, I'm not talking about fasting, dude. I'm talking about just general in between meals, like 6 or 8 hours. When I start feeling weird after fasting, it's because I don't eat all day. And I don't eat till like 4 p.m. And I work out and I go for a walk and I'm working all day. And I do a live stream. It's a little bit different, man. Vegans can't go like 2 minutes. Every vegan I know that eats a smoothie, within 45 minutes, they're starving. That happened to me. It didn't matter how much calories I got from the smoothie either. That within 45 minutes to an hour, you're ready to eat again. Zombie Mukbang says, long-term vegan girls tend to get really fat from hunger and thyroid issues. I don't know what the reason is for them, but they do tend to put on that skinny fat look, as well as a lot of guys do too. And also, they have yeast issues. It's very common. Very common. Soap on Slope says he hasn't farted for over a year. Must be carnivore. Sanka drinks 20 banana smoothies for breakfast and they're not hungry afterwards. Sanka, post up some pictures. I want to see what you look like. I want to see your results from drinking your 20 banana smoothies. Jess wonders, what made you decide to start drinking energy drinks again if you felt so good on the carnivore diet? Gotcha! I got you, carnivore. You want your energy drinks? Jess, I was drinking energy drinks 6 months before I stopped being vegan. And I stopped drinking energy drinks after I left veganism. I've only drinking them a few times here and there since I've gone carnivore. I don't think about it very often. But if I feel like drinking them, I do. Because I don't feel like they're that bad for you. And they're really fun. Sometimes you just want to have a bunch of wacky stimulated energy throughout the day. It's enjoyable. Man. Yeah, answer the question, Sanka. All right. How long have you been vegan? Ashley knows the rules. You have to be vegan for 5 years to even talk about veganism in here. Veganism is great. I've been vegan for 3 months. It made my diabetes go away. It healed my skin. My teeth are better. I lost weight. I'm more powerful in the gym. No, you're not. You're fucking wrong. Nate says, Drew, your experience does not account for what everyone will feel on vegan. It's how most people will feel. And it's typically not proven wrong. You have to be carnivore for 5 years to be able to talk about a mostly meat diet. You know, that's actually one of the most fair things that I've heard. That being said, yeah, I got nothing to say about that. I'm still going to talk, though. The thing is that people who do long-term carnivore or long-term keto don't have the same issues as long-term vegans. There's no deficiency or malnutrition present. That never happens. So, what do you think is going to change? Drew's just a newbie and doesn't know what in the hell he's even talking about. Oh, yeah? Okay. They don't have different issues. Go join a keto group that has like 20,000 members on Facebook. And these people are getting much better results on the whole for regular people compared to vegan people. And they're not leaving the diet. Like you have to completely, it's impossible to fuck up a carnivore diet. You will always get nutrition. You think Tufano's on the roids? He's tiny, man. He's not on roids. That's a compliment. Don't be giving compliments like that, Carnivore. You want to call it fake natties? You can call it me. That's it. That's all I want to hear about fake nattyism. Ron Paul Girls says, I ate steak as a kid, and it tasted great, but then I learned about the animals. What do you even say to that? Fuck, man. Vegans are so far behind. I'm just a newbie. I'm a bad example of the diet at 2 months, but it still performed miracles. Yeah. I'd say that there's a lot more profound things that go on when you start incorporating a carnivore diet than on a vegan diet. And by the way, I didn't have great results as a vegan, even in the beginning. So if you're curious about what Drew Morgan thinks about the vegan diet while he was a vegan, go watch my 1-year review on veganism. I talk about how my digestion wasn't perfect in that video. I talk about how clean my teeth and my mouth felt, but 6 months after that, I had to get 4 cavities. So the proof is in the pudding. Again, I was even brainwashed into thinking that my mouth felt better, and I still had issues. So you can't placebo your teeth into sticking around as a vegan. One of many says they did veganism for 1 year, textbook vegan, but their gut still got destroyed. So you're wrong. Sorry. Let them know. Let them know. Princess UK says, I'd like to try the carnivore diet. Would it improve my vitamin D and other deficiencies? My bones and muscles are weak all the time. Are you vegan right now? Asan says, lots of generalizations against vegans. I was vegan for 9 years. I didn't have any of those health problems you mentioned, but I never had health issues to begin with. Okay, so why did you leave veganism if it was working for you? They're not generalizations, man. This is stuff that I've seen time and time again, and things that ex-vegans are always talking about when they leave the diet. Sanka did not reply with how long that they've been vegan. Probably 1 year, if I'm guessing. If you're still drinking 20 banana smoothies, you're definitely a 1 year vegan. Yeah, the vegans, I like that. I respect your call out of me because I can be fair, mind, body, wellness, saying that I should have to be carnivore for 5 years to promote a diet similar to that, even though I don't promote carnivore, but I do think it's perfectly fine. And I think it's probably potentially even optimal. But I don't see why you have to be carnivore for 5 years because, especially if you're comparing it to a vegan diet, like there's no third diet, right? Like there's vegan, which is all plants, and then there's carnivore, which is all meat. So therefore, I know how both sides operate, and I know the shortcomings, especially of the vegan diet. And again, I didn't have long-term deficiencies on a vegan diet because I ate a lot of food, but I always had discomfort and I always had lack of results the entire time, which I do not have on the carnivore diet. So unless that magically went away, I don't see anything changing for me. Mind Body Wellness says, I think this whole thing will fall apart in a couple years and everyone will go back to being omnivore. I kind of hate you, but I like listening to the discussions and I think you bring up some valid points, but some stupid ones too. Go fuck yourself. Elise is in the chat. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, Raw Alignment. Thank you, JM. Thank you. I appreciate the love. No, I gotta say, the guy made a fair point. That's the best point, especially because I really mean that. I really don't want to hear shit from vegans who haven't been vegan at least as long as I was. You know what I mean? So it's a fair point, but I think I just explained that away reasonably well. Reasonably well. Elise is aware of the vegan shortage on this experiment. We're working something out. Did I trigger you, mind, body, wellness, by saying fuck ethics? Even though the ethics are debatable anyways, but, you know, either way, even if the vegans were right on the ethics, I still think it's stupid. All right? I still think it's stupid. If people want to know my opinion on that, that's how I feel about it. You're not even vegan? What are you in here arguing about? I don't got time to be arguing with omnivores. Get out of here. Get on the team or get out, all right? You're only allowed to be against me if you're vegan, all right? Fucking omnivore enemies? I can't deal with you guys. God. I understand if the vegans want to take shots. First time viewer, Kanye MGTOW, welcome to the chat. Garland Farms coming through with the $5 donation. If you're an American and you are vegan or buying grass-fed beef sourced from Australia, you are blocking the healing of your own homelands. Fair point, Garland Farms. Fair point. Thank you for the donation. And I'd like to expand on this. I agree. Shipping food in anywhere but locally is bad. So Garland Farms, I got a question for you then. Do you think that sourcing grass-fed beef shipped from Australia is worse for the environment than eating locally grown conventional beef? I'd like to hear your opinion on that. Right. I do need an opposing side that's not crazy. You make a good point there. Not all vegans are crazy. I think most vegans went that route out of good intention, good logic, and also utilizing their compassionate heart. I think that the evidence to go vegan before you go vegan is very good. Like, I don't blame anybody for going vegan. You see what I'm saying? Like, if I was just a regular person and I was like carnivore or vegan, like, and I looked at the science, well, the presented science, and I looked at the compassionate side, on the surface level, veganism makes more sense. Ron Paul Girl says, heal the homeland by mass deporting the illegal aliens along with the dirty politicians. Thank you, Ron Paul. Garland Farms, by the way, he answered my question. He said, grass-fed beef from Australia would be better than conventional beef grown in the U.S. Interesting. Interesting. Well, sad to say I am eating a lot of conventional beef grown in the U.S. Obviously, that's what's sold in like every, fast food place. And when I go eat fast food, I try and make it as like quality as I can. I don't eat French fries or anything like that. I try and keep the breads and the carbs minimal. I try and keep the oil minimal if I can. In the UK, we have lamb from New Zealand in supermarkets. Absolute madness. Thankfully, I never eat supermarket meat. I go to the local butcher and they source from a local farm. That's awesome, man. That's cool. We actually have some local butchers here that are, but it's so expensive, like crazy expensive. Like, I thought butchers were supposed to be like the cheap place to get meat, but damn, man, it's like, I don't know who can do $18, $20 a pound grass-fed beef. It's just too expensive. Someone asked, can you gain muscles on carnivore without carbs? 100% yes. You put the protein in, you do the workouts, you will get stronger, you will gain muscle, especially if you're in a caloric maintenance or a caloric surplus. When you get married to your beliefs, you are bound to miss shortcomings that are obvious. I think both carnivores and vegans do this. Do you think the plant-based doctors have good intentions or an agenda? I think that they went vegan with good intention like everybody else. I think that they dug into the science to support their confirmation bias. And then I think that they treated patients and they got good results with those patients by putting them on a plant-based diet versus a standard American diet, and they got positive results. So all those things added up for them to be reinforced through their own experiences, right? That's completely understandable. However, most vegans don't take into account the fact that putting people on plant-based diets coming from standard American diets isn't that impressive. That's not saying very much. Yet, that is what a lot of the vegan studies that they stand on, that's like the evidence that vegans like to use is studies based on that type of a test subject. Somebody who came from standard American diet and then went vegan. You rarely see, I mean, there's like really no studies on carnivore. So let's compare 5-year vegans to 5-year carnivores. That would be an interesting study. Very difficult to do. Yeah, I'll need to ask for the unpopular cuts at the butchers. That would be smarter. Good thinking. Good thinking. Garland says Australia is flooding the U.S. market with grass-fed beef. Meanwhile, Australia does not allow beef imports from the U.S. Buying Australian-sourced beef is a disincentive for U.S. beef producers. So basically what you're saying is it's a one-way street, so there's no point of buying, or there's no point of supporting the Australian market as a person in the U.S. because Australia is not bringing in beef. Why would they even send beef here in the first place? I don't understand that. And what makes Australia such a awesome place for growing beef? Like, why is Australia having such a big beef production? Yeah, Andrew Scarborough, good point, man. Vegan studies are actually usually vegetarian studies. And Carnivore just made a video about that today. He points out the hypocrisy from our Scooby-Dooby buddy, Bong Ripper Ryan from Happy Healthy Vegan. He makes he pulls out a study and talks about how these vegetarians have all this success. So therefore, the guy talking shit on vegans has no ground to stand on. It's like, wait a minute, what? No, Ryan. Vegetarians and vegans are the same thing. They're not the same thing, man. So why are we comparing the two? What did J.G. Lee say? Good point, but they are also creating a market for grass-fed. American producers can't undercut them for once the market is big enough. Just a thought. Well, I think that if American producers could produce beef as cheap as the Australians to begin with, they'd already be doing it. Because they're probably losing business, which is probably why the supply is coming in the first place, because there's a demand for it. So why aren't they producing it that way? It's like saying that American manufacturers could just lower their prices and beat China. It doesn't work that way. You still need to pay the wages, and it's probably just a lot more expensive to produce here. That would be my guess. Salome, good point. They conflate vegetarians all the time, and it's ridiculous. Agree. It's a great word. They conflate the evidence. Australia has lots of pasture and year-round warm weather, so there's almost no cost to raise grass-fed beef. Huh. Interesting. Asan wants to know, what are your thoughts on parasites on a meat diet? Before I went vegan, I read a book, Parasite Rex, by Carl Zimmer, which pushed me more towards veganism. Let me tell you this, Asan. I don't know if it was gallstones or if it was salmonella poisoning. Could have been one or the other. The symptoms are basically the same. But I had the worst stomach sickness I've ever had in my life as a vegan. So I am convinced that my digestive health and my digestive tract is in way better shape to deal with whatever comes its way. Parasites or not, first of all, I don't really believe in parasites. I think that's just straight up hocus pocus bullshit. Ain't nobody got 12-inch worms in their fucking intestines, all right? That is hocus pocus baloney. Straight up. Carnivore points out, vegans say eggs and dairy cause cancer, then use lacto-vegetarians to prove that veganism works. Bodied. What? Carnivore makes the best connections, man. Like 10 steps ahead of the vegans. 10 steps ahead. Tess got food poisoning 2 or 3 times being vegan for 3.5 years. Wow. Yeah, I got really sick. That was the worst sickness I've ever had in my life. Literally just writhing in pain every single night. Throwing up because of the pain. Awful, awful. Okay. All right, guys. I think I'm going to wrap the stream now. I appreciate everybody for coming through. We've gone about 1 hour and 46 now. And I'm sorry to let everybody know that the vegan carnivore experiment is on hold. So find me a vegan. Find me a vegan and we will get this show on the road. We've got the carnivore. All right. So let's get this out there. And no, thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it. Everybody, once again, thank you so much. And I will see you guys soon. I don't know when my next stream will be. I'm going to take a couple days off. I'm going to be putting up a bunch of clips of the recent couple streams with Bart K and Christine Salas. And I will I'll be putting those up shortly. So if you guys missed those streams, you can get the quick downloads, the cliff notes. All right. Thanks again. See you guys.